My name is Rebecca and I am from FairFem, and FairFem is a sustainable online fashion shop in Switzerland. And we're just starting a project where we're going to interview various women. And our first interview is with Christine. Christine is the founder of Dare Survivor, which is a sustainable jewelry brand that's based in the US, and their mission is to empower both people and the planet. So I think we'll just go ahead and dive in. So first of all, hello, Christine.
Great. Hi.
Yeah, and
Thank you
you're
for having
joining
me.
us from California, correct?
Yes, I'm in San Diego and it is surprisingly not sunny today. It's
Not
like
sunny today.
weirdly overcast, but yeah,
Yeah, it's
still
about,
beautiful.
yeah, it's 8:30 in the evening our time and the sun is still shining. So we have very long days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so let's just go ahead and dive right in. And first of all, if you can just explain a bit about Dear Survivor and the concept and the meaning behind the name and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love fashion. I always have. It was kind of like a far off dream for me to like work in fashion because I didn't go to school for it. I felt like if I wanted to be a designer, I had to be really good at drawing, which now I'm like, gosh, I can't believe that I thought that for so long. I'm not good at drawing. So yeah, I always wanted to do it, but it just felt like the thing that I just was never going to be able to actually do. Anything in fashion. I love like clothing, accessories, like all of it. I love everything about it. I worked in retail for a number of years. And when I was working in retail, I saw a number of brands that were coming up like early, like mid 2000s, that brands that were like built around a social good. So like Tom's was like probably the first one that like came on my radar that was like, oh, they're selling something and helping people. Like I love that. So I saw all these brands and I was like, that would be so cool. Someday if I could ever like have a brand, like I would for sure do something that like helps in some way. And then when I was in college, the issue of human trafficking really came onto my heart because there was a brothel that had opened across the street from my house, which was insane to have that happen. And just, yeah, that was very formative just in my personal life of like, yeah, it was just really, it was heartbreaking. And it was the craziest part was seeing how long it took for anything to actually be done about it by the authorities, even though like myself and all of the neighbors were like reporting it and trying to get it take like somebody do something. But just for all these legal reasons, the police couldn't just like walk in. I don't know. It was all this stuff that I was like, this is just super broken. Like, and this is an obvious one. Anyway, so through that, I knew that like that would be the cause that I wanted to like do something about, like working with human trafficking victims. And then like as I was in school, like my actual degree was sociology, and I kind of built my research around human trafficking, just like on a broader level of like how products are made. So just like general manufacturing and how there's so much exploitation around the world because of how things are made. So yeah, I was like, if I ever start something, human trafficking will be my cause. I want to like help victims of sex trafficking specifically, but I also like want every part of my business to be super transparent and like, yeah, just not having no hand of like human trafficking anywhere in my product line, like supply chain, how it's made, everything. So yeah, that was kind of like my ideal, like at the very beginning was like, if I could ever start something, those are the things that I love and those are the things I want to see in a business. And then kind of how it happened, I was living in LA after going to school in San Francisco, and I had some friends in fashion, and one of them was like, you should just start a brand. You're like really good at making things. Because I was just making things for myself and for my friends. Like
Jewelry
just,
or clothing as well?
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was doing clothing primarily. I was working at the time as a leather seamstress for another company making
Interesting.
leather. Yeah, leather baby shoes. So I was a manufacturer for somebody else. And that was great because I got to just learn how to make things super fast and like perfectly, and just like seeing the inner workings of another small business. So yeah, I was already working with leather, and that was where I started to see how much scrap is from the leather industry. And then, yeah, so I was just already making stuff, was making like ceramic. My minor in college was ceramic. So like I had kind of always just like made ceramic jewelry for many years. Yeah. So my friend was like, just come up with like a couple products, like try to come up with a business name. That was like her only assignment for me. And like, I was like, there's no way I can't start a business. Like, I need to get a business license. I don't know anything about this.
Right.
Yeah. But her just having that one friend who she was like a buyer at the time, her just saying like, your stuff is on par with the stuff that I've seen in showrooms, like just try. And I was like, And then, like a month later, I launched the company because
That's a pretty quick turnaround time. I'm
it was
impressed.
so fast. It was so fast because I got that. It was like the same week I got my tax return that year. It was like $800. Got my tax return. And then she was like, come up with a name. And then it just hit. I was like, oh my gosh, Dear Survivor. That would like hit like the cause that I'm passionate about. I'm going to do everything like above board. And then, at that point, up to that point, I had been making everything myself up until last summer. And so everything was made by me. And then when I got to a point where I could like start outsourcing and bringing on help, I knew that I wanted to like have that be the next component of empowering women, which would be, finding a manufacturer that brought opportunities to another people group. So I found Refugee Artisan Initiative, which we can get into that a little bit later. But that's kind of like how it started.
And which year did you launch it? How long have you been
2015.
doing this?
Yeah. So
okay, wow. So for 5 years.
So next month, June, in like 2 weeks is my 5-year anniversary, which is crazy. I can't even believe it.
And you started out mostly with earrings, like what I'm wearing, correct? And now you've evolved to, I see the necklace you're wearing.
Yes. So I actually started as a leather, like a purse company. So like I was making backpacks, duffel bags, like tote purses, all leather. And then I also was doing like small jewelry pieces when I started. And then a few months in, I started doing these crystal earrings, like gemstone crystal earrings. And then that was like the thing that really was like my big seller. And that's basically what carried my brand for the last few years. And then in 2018 is when I developed the leather earrings, because at that point I wasn't doing as many leather bags because I was like, okay, sustainability wise, I don't want to keep buying full hides of leather. Like I want to work only with scrap. And just seeing how there was so much, I was creating so much scrap from cutting bags. So I was like, okay, factories have to have like even more scrap leather that they don't know what to do with. So that's when I approached a factory in LA that's like makes really like premium handbags. And they were like, we sell our scrap by the pound. Please come get some. Like otherwise it just goes to landfill.
Okay.
So anyways, that's how I established that. So those earrings are my current thing. And then in the last year, I've introduced a couple new materials. So like working with brass and did a different thing. So I have a lot going on.
Yeah, I can tell. I like following your Instagram account. You have a lot going on, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So now tell me a bit about Generate Hope, the organization that you donate some of your proceeds to?
Yeah, Generate Hope. So like I said, like from the get-go, I was like, I know that I want to like bring attention to this issue of human trafficking. I think that the consumer market is a really powerful place to create positive change in the world. Like the consumer dollar can go so far. And so I knew immediately, I'm like, I want to be donating a portion of proceeds to a nonprofit that's already established, is like reputable, they're doing good work, and just like help fund the things that they already have going, their programs. So at the time I was living in LA when I started the brand, but I was either going to move back to San Francisco or to San Diego. And then, just started looking for nonprofits in both of those cities because I knew that I wanted to partner with one in the same city as me. I found Generate Hope. And then, a few other things fell into place and I was like, okay, San Diego is going to be where I move. And so, I just contacted them and they were, super great. And I was able to ask them a lot more questions about, just their programs and what they do. And
so what is their main mission? They focus on survivors of human trafficking?
So they're specifically like a safe house for women who have been rescued from sex trafficking.
Okay.
So they have like, they're like a safe house program. So like women come and like live with them and just like receive like rehabilitation and care and like trauma therapy and just like a full amazing like safe house and like job education, job trainings, all these different things that they're able to like offer and help them with. So when I donate monthly, like a portion of all my proceeds, and it just goes to like their greatest needs, like whatever. Okay. So some months it goes towards their like, they do like enrichment activities. So like horseback riding or just like things like that, where it's like an activity for the girls to get out. So there's that side of it. And then also just like upkeeps for the house, their housing situation. And like,
do you know what the average age of the women who are there?
I actually don't know the average age. I know that they're like, it's like a rotating thing. I know that they are all like coming from across the United States.
Okay.
So this is one like it's a very like well-known, well-respected program. And part of like rescuing people from it is like kind of pulling them out of where they're at, like just safety wise, to get them into a new environment, new city. So I know it's like girls coming from all across the country. But yeah, I actually don't know the age. I always like ideally I was like, oh, I would love to like be super hands-on and working with them. That was like one of my initial goals, but running a business just like takes so much effort. And I realized pretty quickly, I was like, I know myself and like I want to give 150 on everything. And if I just feel like if I tried to actually like be more involved with their program, like I just don't, I was like, I know I'm not gonna be able to give my full self, and I don't want to do that to people. Like I want to give everything. So I've chosen to not be hands-on and just be more of like a silent donor. But yeah, they're awesome. Like the girls that run it are amazing, and yeah, they're a great program.
Yeah, sounds like it. And then you also mentioned something about the Refugee Artisan Initiative, and they are now making the earrings. Is that correct? Or what is the process that you have set up with them?
Yeah, that was so like I said, I started making everything myself. Like figuring out manufacturing has just been a challenge for me, like having no knowledge of the fashion industry or anything, like coming in pretty blindly. It's just been hard to figure out how to scale and grow and like manufacture. And so, yeah, most of my products, like the crystal earrings, like I said, that I was doing for so long, I did try to teach other people how to do it, and no one could do it. Okay. They're just very specific. And like, I definitely have really high standards. So like, I don't know, no one could do it up to my standard of what I wanted. So that was like, could not scale it. So then as I developed the leather earrings, I was like, okay, I know that this can be done by somebody else, but like, this is fine. We can totally do this. Yeah. So I started just going through a list of like American manufacturers, like factories for jewelry across the US. I tried one in New York, upstate New York, and I was like so excited. And then they sent me back the first batch, and I'm like, oh, they scratched the leather, which I don't even know how they scratched the leather so bad. It was just bad. There's so many things. The pieces were loose and dangling. Anyway, so they were bad. Found another one in LA, same issue. Oh my gosh. Like I just could not believe it. And what I was realizing was like, okay, these factories that are like jewelry factories, like they have their normal things that they do, the normal tools, the normal materials. Leather is just different enough to where a factory is just like, we don't know what to do with this. Like it's just different enough. Like the metal pieces, like it's not a component that I'm buying from a mass manufacturer. It's something that we're bending. So it's just like these little things that make it just hard enough to like factories did not know what to do with my stuff. And so I was like, crap. I thought that like I designed this to be good. Anyways, so then I found Refugee Artisan Initiative, and I came across them, and I'm like, oh, these ladies would be ideal, because like I just really want to empower as many people as I can through every portion of my business. And if part of the manufacturing process could like go to like hand off to them, so like because it's a program up in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle that works with different women who are immigrants and refugees from around the world, who most of them are single mothers. Job opportunities are harder for them based on like transit, just so many different reasons. And so they partner with like smaller designers, some bigger designers too, they do like sewn goods and then jewelry pieces. So I found them. I was like, this would be perfect. They could all work from home. And I sent them all the samples like I was doing with everybody else. And like when I got it back, I literally cried when I opened it, because I was like, these are
out of happiness, hopefully.
Perfect. Right? Yes.
Okay.
Like tears of joy. Because I was like, these are perfect. Like every single one was perfectly made, exactly how I would have done it. And I was like, these are the women I want to support anyways. I'd rather work with them than like a bigger factory. So yeah, any product, like, so as my product line has grown and expanded, like just trying to figure out who is the best manufacturer. So like my brass pieces, I'm doing with like a local caster here in San Diego. And as that grows, I'm developing a partnership in LA with like a bigger jewelry manufacturer that is all like recycled metals that they work with. And like, they're super great. I'm really excited about them. But like, so the metal pieces, those can't be done like in somebody's home. Those are like a lot of heavy machinery. Right. So like those have to be at a factory, but all like the leather earrings and like, yeah, as I'm developing new things, like trying to keep in mind, like, can I pass these off to Refugee Artisan Initiative? And like, yeah, so that's how that partnership came about. They've been awesome to work with. I started working with them last June was when we started like prototyping and sampling. And yeah, they've been amazing. Like it's been fun to be able to support them. They have like 2 or 3 artisans that they have trained on my product. So yeah, whenever I send up all the components, they send them to those ladies and then they send them back to me. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like
so
super
cool to be
thankful
able
for
to really start from the bottom of the supply chain and, empower
Exactly.
the women at
Yeah,
that end.
totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
So moving forward, so with FairFem, we have kind of 3 pillars, and one of the pillars is sustainability and fairness in fashion, which I would say Dear Survivor definitely is that. But I also feel like these terms are being so thrown around often and people
Yes.
don't
Yeah.
really have a definition for them. Or so how would you define sustainability? And I think you
Yeah.
already kind of touched on this with Dear Survivor being a sustainable brand with upcycling and whatnot, but if you could just talk a little bit more in the
Yeah,
context of
definitely.
sustainability.
Yeah. So, and that's what's been interesting. So like I started 5 years ago and the language at that time was all about like ethical fashion. And it's been kind of wild to watch just in the last like 2 or 3 years, the language changed to like, well, are you sustainable, not ethical? And it's for me, sustainability is like, it also encompasses ethical. So like making sure that the people making the things are safe, good to go, well paid, and then sustainable meaning, are we like taking resources from the planet in a way that's harming? And for me, like the route I've chosen to go is just working only with the recycled materials. So like I'm not buying anything new. Yeah, always just upcycling. So the leather comes from the factory. That's the offcuts of when they make a purse. So like that stuff is just going to go to landfill if somebody doesn't come and grab it. The metals that I'm working with are all recycled metals. So like, yeah, it's lived one life, been refined and like sent to me as like the granules that I can then cast again into something new. So that's great. Love that. And then, yeah, I have like my recycled rubber earrings. Those are from a factory in upstate, like maybe it's Maine, somewhere on the East Coast, but a factory that makes like rubber mats and just things. And then like all their offcuts, they like send back through a regrinder machine. And then that's the material I use for the rubber earrings is like their other things that have been mashed up and mixed back up into this like new material. For me, sustainability is all about giving something that's already lived one life would likely be thrown away if it wasn't given the opportunity to transform into something new. And yeah, it's fun because for me, it's kind of like a design challenge. Like rather than starting with an idea of a design, it's more so starting with a material instead and seeing like what is the potential of this material. Challenges that I've had with it are scaling. So like the leather, I don't always have the same colors because it comes and goes because I'm not saying like, hey, like tannery in Italy, can I have 500 hides of white? It's like, well, no, I found like 30 pounds of scrap white and that, that'll get us through this amount of time. So that's like one of the challenges, but
it also can keep things
also
a bit more
it's
interesting.
kind of fun.
Though, huh?
Yeah. Like
I noticed with the blue earrings that you just posted.
The blue.
Such a beautiful color.
It's the best color. I've literally been looking for that shade for so long. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, thank God. I like the swatch I got was like this big. It was so small. But it went far. We made like, I think it was like 30 pairs I was able to make out of it. So that was great. But yeah, I just saw another purse designer up in San Francisco. She was selling some of her scrap and she has the like leopard print, which is like, I had a little bit of that back in February and it also did so well. And so I just bought some of her scrap last night and she's going to send it down. I'm so excited to be able to bring back the leopard because people love leopard print right now. It's like so hot. So yeah, I know. Yeah. To me, it's not my favorite, but it's like, people love the leopard. So I'm like, found it, gonna sell that again. So that's great. But yeah, working with recycled material, I just think it's fun. It keeps things exciting. And
like you said, it's an added challenge then for you as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, it's like, I love like the creative challenge, recycled material.
Yeah. Okay. So the second pillar of FairFem is female empowerment. So in general, women are massively underrepresented in executive management for the major fashion brands. So what has your experience been as a female leader in the industry? And did you experience any hurdles?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I'm still having to prove myself all the time. Yeah. Anytime I like walk into a meeting with a factory or supplier, just anytime, it's just always, I think too, because I started the brand when I was 24. So like I am young and plus like I look young. And so I just was not being taken seriously most of the time. Like when I would go in to meet with somebody or go to a supplier, just not being taken seriously. And
has that evolved over the years, would you say? Or is it still, if you work with
it's still there.
Yeah.
unfortunately. But I think it's like I've started to like own it a little bit more because I've just begun to like be like, yeah, I am, I'm 5 years into running this. Like, I'm not going to take your like snide or like, oh, who are you? Like, I don't know. I've learned to like be more confident in saying like, yes, I am the owner of this business. And yes, we are successful to some degree. And like, yeah. So yeah, it's definitely like, it's an unfortunate thing, but I love like working with other female run businesses because they're never like the factory I work with in LA that does the purses that I buy the scrap from. It's a woman who runs that place, and she's just a total amazing woman, and she's just awesome to work with. And I'm like, I feel like you just get it. Like, I came in here and you didn't give me any like weirdness. Like, yeah. So there's those moments where I'm like, okay, cool. Like, there are other like amazing, like badass women like running things. And yeah, it's only like when it's like an older man, usually, that it just makes me feel like, oh, what are you doing here? Anyways.
So what about any advice that you would give to a woman who like to start her own business based off of your experience?
Yeah, totally. I think just being confident in who you are. For me, I have since I was really little, I've always just loved art and design, fashion, everything about it. But just for so long was like, no, I could never do that. Like, I can't do that. And I wish that I had just done it earlier. I wish that I had actually gone to school for it. I just was told so often like, oh, you can never get a job in fashion or art. Like, it's like, no, you totally can. I think, yeah, just like for me, those are the things that have always been the truest thing about myself. And I just like pushed that down for so long. And then when I finally did give myself the freedom to pursue the things I love the most, like that's when, yeah, my personal brand, my business, like was actually able to thrive. So yeah, just having confidence in who you are and the things that you love. And yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, always good to live out that, huh?
Yeah.
Easier said than done, though, unfortunately.
Easier said, yes, absolutely.
And it may take a couple of years, but like you said, over the past 5 years, you've gained more and more confidence. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So the last pillar is femininity in fashion. And we think that's very individualistic. And one woman can define she may feel her best when she's in sweatpants and a t-shirt. Another woman maybe when she's in a business suit or whatever. How would you define femininity in fashion, and what outfit gives you confidence?
Femininity, like it is so subjective to each person. And I think that's part of what is exciting about like for fashion specifically. It's like you can just go in so many different directions as a designer because somebody's going to connect with something, which is cool. But yeah, I feel like for me, like femininity is just what makes you feel, not even like feel beautiful, feel confident. It just makes you feel something. I love getting dressed, especially like during, quarantine lockdown. Like I've still like gotten dressed every day because I'm like,
I think it's so important to do that. Yeah.
You got to get dressed. Yeah. Just put together a cute outfit.
Yeah. So do you have a particular outfit that you like to wear that makes you feel particularly good?
Totally. Okay. This is sorry, I'm wearing my mask. I am at my office today. Black turtleneck. Just a tight black turtleneck. Yep. The Steve Jobs look. I love my black turtleneck.
I love black turtlenecks too. But...
I love it. Yeah. And then just like a high-waisted pair of vintage pants. It doesn't even matter which pair I have. Like I have probably like 8 of them in my closet that I've just found at the thrift stores in the last couple of years. But yeah, high-waisted, like wool or linen or just like a good pant. I have these like Adobe red ones that are like definitely from the 70s, and I altered them a little bit to be like a perfect fit. Yeah, so black turtleneck, good high-waisted pants, and probably
good jewelry,
like a little heel. Yeah, good jewelry. Well, what's funny is like I'm actually not a huge jewelry person.
Really?
I never have been. Yeah, I literally didn't wear earrings for like most of my life, and I wasn't even wearing them when I was making the crystal ones because it just wasn't my personal style. It just was something that I noticed sold really well. Yeah. So I didn't actually wear earrings until I started making the leather ones, and then I was like, oh yay, I'm excited about jewelry.
I love these. I love statement pieces, and they're so lightweight. They're so because fun. I used to wear statement pieces that were so heavy, and my earlobe actually ripped out when I was 7 years old. No. So I need to really be aware of that, but these earrings are so perfect because of that.
That's the other thing is like my ears are so sensitive. I've had them close up over the years, and I was like, I need to make everything I make is gonna be hypoallergenic, so like not cause irritation, and then also lightweight because we just don't have time for that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, so how does your idea of femininity reflect in your jewelry design?
Well, lately I've been able to like do more sculptural pieces, which has been really exciting for me because I yeah, like I said, my minor in college was sculpture. And so the brass pieces I'm doing, it's called lost wax casting. So like I take the hunk of wax and then I can just mold it into whatever I want, which is great. And yeah, the first piece I did was like the female form, so like a figure.
I noticed that. I loved that. So beautiful.
I love that one. Yeah, I'm actually picking up a new batch of them today, like the second. So I'm actually going to be able to like post about them again because I haven't had them in stock. But yeah, just like I think for me, what I love like reading and like hearing from customers and like seeing in reviews is like a lot of women like jewelry just means something. Like you wear it because it reminds you of like time in your life or like makes you feel something, reminds you of someone. It's like, especially with necklaces, it's like close to your heart, which I just think is special and cool. And yeah, your jewelry pieces like really become a part of you. And yeah, just trying to like make things that make people feel beautiful. And yeah, that piece specifically, the female form, is like the first I've done that's like figurative female body. It's like definitely like irregular. Like when we cast it, like it had all these like imperfections that came out in the original, which was unintentional, but it ended. I was like, my caster was like, I'm so sorry. Like we can try it again. And I'm like, no, it's perfect. Like this is more realistic. Like
definitely.
A woman's body is not the idealized figure that we think it should be or whatnot. But yeah, so yeah, that's what I would say to that.
So then the final question, I know you need to get going. You have, I think, an Instagram launch, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last question is, what words of advice would you give to women who are struggling to feel empowered?
Yeah, honestly, just love the things about yourself that maybe you don't feel are the norm. It's so empowering to just like allow yourself to love the things you love and to do the things you love and to not feel like it's wrong or like you're any less than because you don't do things like other women or like just allow yourself to do the thing you love. I think that's just important. And like I'm a huge advocate for that because having my friend tell me, hey, just start a brand because you're good at this, like, and you love it. I was just like, I just needed someone to give me permission to do it. And it's like, thank God I had that friend. And that friend is actually, she's now my marketing person, which is great because she's like the best. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, I can't believe it took that long for me to like hear somebody say that. Like, just be you and do the thing you love. And that actually like really changed my life. So yeah.
Great words to end on.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing this. And it was great to get to know you a bit over Zoom at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me. This was awesome.
Yep. Okay. We'll keep in touch then.
Cool.
Okay.